All right, everybody, I got Cliff Baker here from Clifford's Junk Removal. For those that do not know, Cliff is a proud Home Service Accelerator member. He's been a member since February. It was February, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And Cliff was working a job on the side while getting his junk removal company off the ground, and now he is full time in his junk removal business. And Cliff, you were just telling me off camera. Why don't we start with tell us about what your revenue is going to be in the month of August? You said you were projected to do about 20.
Yes, we're at 19. We got a couple more jobs on the schedule, so we'll finish out, somewhere around 20.
I like it. Okay, let's start with just like the basics, right? So you were working a 9 to 5. What were you doing for work? And then when did you decide you were going to start doing a junk removal business? What was the reason you got into junk?
So I was actually in the Air Force for the last 13 years or so, and did healthcare management most recently, and was just kind of looking at my transition. And I actually had a rental property that I was remodeling and needed junk removal service. I called a couple guys. Some of them didn't show up. Some of them, I think I called 100, got junk. Their price was not what I was willing to pay. So I rented a trailer. I already had a truck, so I just rented a trailer and went to the dump. And then it was like, hey, I can do this. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I just started
What
doing it on.
was wait, the 1-800 got junk quote? Do you remember like I've heard some egregious prices. They're getting it from somebody, so good for them. But do you remember like how outrageous it was compared to like the other quotes you got?
Yeah, it was like twice as much. I want to say it was like $1,200 for a truckload or something like that. It was construction debris, so they're trying to hit you with the heavyweight charges, nickel and dime you. But yeah, that I think their average truckload now is like $900.
Yeah, with a bunch of different fees tacked on for, if the day of the week ended in Y, there's a $50 fee, and if the, whatever else they find from there.
Yeah.
Cool, dude. So you went and rented a trailer, you did it yourself, and you were like, oh, I can monetize this.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah. So I rented a U-Haul trailer, filled it up, went to the dump, cost me $50, and that was yeah. A few months later, I eventually bought a dump trailer, and then started on Yelp, learned some lessons there, and but it was a good to get it going. I got my first customers, and just kind of started putting my name out there. And one thing I realized is the more effort I put into marketing and working on the business, I got something in return like immediately, pretty much.
Mhm.
Whereas my day job, it didn't matter how hard I worked, how many hours I was salary, so I was getting the same, you know, pat on the back kind of thing, but nothing more.
Yeah, good job with the pizza party. Yeah, exactly. So, so let's start with like, so when you started off, you're working on the side, you were doing like seven, maybe $8,000 in revenue a month, probably taking home probably $1,000 profit, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, pretty close to that.
Okay, cool. So what do you think is the difference between like, because at that point you can't quit your job. There's no shot. Didn't have enough. What do you think is like the big difference between like how you went from 7,000 in what March to now you're consistently doing about, I know you did like 30 something K in May, took time off in June, whatever else. Now in August you're back up to 20K. Owner operator. So for prefacing it, we don't have a bunch of employees yet. But what do you think is the big jump from like 7, 8,000 to like now doing 20,000 a month, 100 5-star Google reviews, all that jazz?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's coaching. HSA is a big deal. I also got some coaching. Once I knew I was going to go full time, I took a class in December that was junk removal specific. So that was helpful, and really just learning from somebody else. And everybody thinks they're doing enough. I noticed, including myself. And then you hear guys like, oh, I put out 300 yard signs this week, and I was like, oh, my 50, didn't I didn't get anything for my 50, that kind of thing. And any tactic, just put that in there. But yeah, it was really that just volume branding. There's probably 600 junk removal companies in the Sacramento market where I'm at, Northern California, and what's the difference between me and them? So obviously the collared shirts, branded shirts, professionalism, and just really making my own brand. So that's when I started to get my truck wraps. Back in probably April-ish, May, just really started working on building that brand and that brand authority.
Yeah, I mean, dude, your wraps look good. We'll try to pull it up by the end of the video to show people. I'll try to find a picture of it, but the wraps look sharp. Like your brand, like the color scheme, the wraps you have, like all that jazz is super sharp. So, dude, that's really interesting. Like, it's funny about Home Service Accelerator too. Is like when I started it, it was much more like, oh, people just need to learn how to market. But then like one of the things you said is like you get proximity to dudes who are like, oh, you do 50-yard signs a week and you're not satisfied with the result. And then you see somebody else in the Discord and they're like, oh yeah, dude, I did 300 last week. And you're like, oh, like that's why. Like, okay, interesting. So it's funny, like the proximity to other people is so wild. How much of the growth from 8,000 up to like 20,000 a month do you think is attributed to Facebook ads?
I would say, 50% or more. I mean, it's a lot to do with the Facebook. Not only the ads, it helps with your brand awareness. Like like back in actually May, I joined the Chamber of Commerce. I went to a little coffee thing that they had there, and there was somebody that walked up to me like, "Oh, it's Clifford. I see your ads." Like, so it's kind of like being the celebrity in town. And yes, I mean, I think Facebook. There's so much like intangible with the Facebook ads of just, people seeing you. Like my banker, he's like, "Oh yeah, I just saw your ads again. You're all over my feed." Like he doesn't need it, but he's like, it's yeah, it's super helpful just to if you're trying to dominate like a local market. Even if you can't track, that customer when somebody needs your service, just being in their face constantly. They see my trucks, they see my ads. Some people stop me in my truck and they're like, "Oh, I've seen you somewhere." I'm like, "Oh, you probably saw my Facebook." They're like, "Oh yeah, Instagram." So it I would say like in May, which was my big month, I was getting like 5x return on ad spend. So that accounted for at least 50% of my business. And I think it's pretty consistent. About 50% of my business comes from Facebook.
Yeah, so you put in 100, got 500 back for anybody that's listening that's like brand new. So you gave that Lizard King Zuckerberg $100 and he spat you back out 500. That's a good deal, especially when you're getting the business off the ground. The other thing that's really interesting, and I love that you touched on it, is like junk removals is so commoditized. And so one of the things that we find with like a lot of junk removal, dumpster rental businesses like that is like, dude, it's not just about the fact that they submitted and they gave you their first name, last name, phone number, and email. When you run the ads we make you guys run, which is like video style, put your brand in it, owner in the like owner's face in it, all that jazz. The other thing is exactly what you said. Like your banker is seeing your ads. He hasn't converted yet, but it's like it's not like when people view Facebook ads, they go like, oh, I can just collect leads and then sell the leads. It's that, but when you run it our style, it's that plus brand build, so that eventually when the banker's like the banker's wife is like, oh honey, we got to get rid of this couch, we're just getting a new one, instead of the banker going and googling it, he's just going to go to you. And like that's the thing that you can't quantify in analytics. Like you can't quantify that. Like you might have been hammering them, they might have been getting hammered with a Facebook and Instagram ad for like 3 months, 4 months off and on, and just like you just like were that little bug in their ear, but you can't, it won't show up in the analytics because eventually you're just going to have an organic call. And so one of the things we even talked about on a group call a while ago was like we had a $30,000 residential install in my lighting business that came into our CRM from Google. Like she said, like the CRM said she came from a Google Maps like SEO type of lead form, like our landing page through that, which is crazy because when my guys got on site, they had her coded in the CRM that she came from Google. And then they get on site and all she's talking about is how funny our Facebook and Instagram ads are. And so like what a lot of people do is they see you on one platform and then they go convert on another. And that's why like you can run still image. Sure, it's great, but it's not going to build brand. Like people can look up your Facebook ads if they want. They can see all of them. Like it's just, you can't hide it. Like it's very clear. Like when your face is on them and you're running it in a certain structure, it works way better. So that's insane ROAS right from the jump. How much like now, because I want to go over your Google business page too, because like you put in the Discord last night that you just hit 100 reviews. How much business do you think you're getting from the Google business completely for free? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot with numbers,
Yeah,
but
no, I was actually just looking at the analytics, just on your calls, and I went from like a few months ago where like my interactions on my Google page were like in the 50s, like I think it was 50 to 70, and then now I'm at like 500. I'm probably getting 10 calls a month for free, and and then I think a lot of my Google in particular, I think they start there and then they go to my website, and I think that's where like they call me. I get a lot of website calls where otherwise I don't think I would have like directly from my website.
yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, when you look at the Google Maps, like the Google business page analytics, it'll show you like how many calls you got. So when Cliff says 10 calls for anybody listening, it's like they had to click call now from their mobile phone on Maps for that to count. So they clicked the phone number, called right there, and Google Maps tracks that. But the huge thing that is the other side is how many people see the Google Maps, go to the website, fiddle around for a while, and then go from there, which is
yeah,
eventually you'll need to have like a separate landing page synced to your Google business page so you can track the forms on there. But that's a conversation for another time. You can make like a dummy landing page where you can actually track the lead submissions from Google too. But yeah, that's right now we're we're just getting into the swing of things. So one thing at a time. What else do you think? Like, you were mentioning you have like some referral partners like on the real estate side. Walk us through, like, if I'm a junk removal guy or a home service guy starting out there, like, what is your value add to the guy that's in real estate? Like, what is he buying for specifically?
Yeah, so I have one realtor in particular. They're, I guess, more of a brokerage.
Hmm.
Actually, my Facebook ad connected me to their transaction coordinator, back to the brand awareness. But yeah, so she has about 60 properties at any given time that are on the market, for various realtors, and she's the transaction coordinator. And she's my top customer. I would say 10% of my business for this year from that one real estate, which I don't really like. It's good, but you don't want all your eggs in one basket. Um, but yeah, so any commercial client, these repeat, clients that don't cost you anything outside of that first one. I actually got connected with Public Storage, national brand. I do one or two cleanouts from them a week now. It seems like it comes in waves. Got connected, and she saw me on Facebook. She needed vendors, so these repeat clients, once you get them in the door, like the lifetime value is just huge.
Yeah, let's talk about, like, what do you think the realtors are buying? Like, what are they buying from you for? They have a listing closing and they want like the
Oh
stuff
yeah.
cleaned out at the very end of it. Is that what most of the time it is?
Yeah, so I've been a lot of the realtors that I work with, they're senior citizens tend to gravitate towards me. I treat them
It's
like
because
a
you're a
brother.
good. It's because you're a good-looking guy, Cliff. They like the good-looking, strapping young guy.
Yeah, so a lot of these people, there's downsizing, they're selling their house, or their kids are selling their house. Somebody passed away. We do some eviction cleanouts for property management, or just landlords in general. But yeah, a lot of them, downsizing. The senior citizen community has been a lot of it. People moving out of California. I feel like I do a house clean out for somebody moving to Idaho once a week. It seems like, or at least a couple times a month.
So
But
they're
yeah,
going Sacramento to Idaho often.
yeah, everybody's moving there. I think it's. I mean, a lot of it's their kids moved out there,
Hmm.
recently, and following the grandkids. But yeah, that's most of my realtors. They're putting a house on the market, and they're just that realtor I mentioned. They do a lot of like kind of white glove service where they're doing all the renovation for their client, and kind of so that's basically what they do is they get the seller out, and then they call me and say, hey, everything that they left behind, and you just come pick up.
It's good. It's good work if you can get it. You don't have to deal with a homeowner that's there. It's great. You just go in there, get it, and dip. It's So when you're looking at everything now, one of the things we talked about off camera, and I want to, like, I actually want to address it for like some newer guys, is like one of the things you said was like, yeah, the top line's great, but my net isn't like exactly where I want it to be, which you said was a bad thing until we dove into it, that it's because you've been investing back into the business. Like, you got truck wraps, you got like tons of other infrastructure built out, different tech, you fixed your website, you got, like, you paid for some professional content, all that jazz. Like, I actually think that that's a wonderful, like, you're still profitable while dumping back into the business, which is how it should be. Like, that's the goal. So, like, walk us through, like, you start getting like a 15K month, a 20K month. In May, you did like 34 or 35, whatever it was, K revenue, decent margins. What were some of those infrastructure investments that you made because you were profitable enough to do it? So, like, walk us through some of those.
Yeah, so truck wraps, I'm strong advocate for those. I think that's probably if you don't have a truck wrap, the investment on that's for what you get. It's immediate.
How much did you pay for design and wrap? Just so everybody that's watching can kind of feel it out.
Yeah, so I probably have about 8 grand right now in wraps. My trailers, I'm paying $1,800 per trailer. I have two right now. I paid a similar amount for my single cab truck. Um, and then I have my personal vehicle was probably the biggest ticket. That was 3 grand.
And you
Um,
wrapped the entire vehicle in your brand, the one you drive around town.
yep. Yeah, it's a Tesla, and I take it to any networking event I go to, and just family doesn't care for that too much, but
No, I mean, dude, this is like, do you know how many junk removal guys like hit us up and they've been doing 5K, 10K a month for like 2, 3 years? And they're like an owner op. And that's just like what they always, oh, I just do 8K a month, 10K a month, and we never grow. Like, that's just what they do. And like, this is the reality of it, dude. Is like, it's hard these days. Like, so for everybody listening, it's like, yeah, dude, when you have a 10K month and a 15K month the first time, you don't go to the steakhouse and buy a $500, $600 dinner because you're rich now. You go invest back in the business. It's like playing an RPG video game. it's like you're playing, like, I don't know if someone's like a RuneScape guy or like a Skyrim guy or like anything like, or like even people that played Call of Duty back in the day. It's like you get better, you earn experience. In the business case, the experience points that you level up with is just money. It's just profit that you have left over. And then you go take that and you go buy the better sword. You go level up your skill tree. It's the exact same thing in business. It's like you just take that money, whatever you had left over, and then you bought a truck wrap. You bought a personal vehicle wrap. You wrapped your trailers. Now it's like, okay, cool, better weapons, better stuff going around town. Now calls are coming in there, everything else. And this is why you're growing. Like, this is why you're like at the point now where you're starting to like, okay, I need to go get some helpers so I can do more volume. Like, this is why you're trying to scale Facebook ads, why you're trying to scale everything else. Because like you're doing this stuff the right way. And like, I don't know, man, it's like, it's kind of convicting for me because when I started my business, like, I remember the first time, like, Christmas was fine, but I remember when I had the junk removal business, like the first 20K month I had, I went to the Bahamas with my girlfriend. Like right away. This is when I was like 20, I was like 24 years old, 25 years old, something like that. Like the second I had some profit, I just went and blew it. And I went to the Bahamas with a casino. Like I probably blew 2-3 grand there just being a dumbass. So like, I this is why I wanted to bring you on, because like so many times we bring on people that are like, and there's different value depending on who you interview. Like, you know, you can bring on the guy that had the $100 million exit and the $200 million exit, and that's incredibly aspirational. And it's amazing, like to hear guys that built something from nothing. But then like, I think there's a crazy amount of value of like interviewing somebody that's in the thick of it right now. And like, that's you, like you're in the middle of growing. Like you're, you know, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, you're doing, you know, a couple thousand a month, couldn't quit your job, whatever it was. And then now it's like, we're leveling up and you're in it. So with that little preface of like how I led you in there, what do you think is like the realistic chain of events going from here? Like what's the revenue number and like whatever you need to hit before you bring on like a full-time helper? Have you modeled that or anything like that?
Yeah, so I just hired a part-time guy with I'm developing him into a full-time guy, and then I actually will be hiring another one sooner than I originally planned to remove myself from the equation altogether.
Mm.
But, but from a revenue standpoint, consistently hitting 20 to 30K will allow me to have two full-time employees and really go after the business from a networking, from a you know, really trying to go after the commercial outreach and really trying to grow the commercial side while still you know, using the Facebook ads to pump in the residential for cash flow, really. And
Hmm.
then you know, we have goals to, you know, my goal is to be the largest non-franchise junk removal business in Sacramento over the next 5 years.
I mean, if you keep reinvesting back in the business the way you are now and keep reinvesting in skills, you're going to get there. Yeah, dude, I think that's like, I think that's super beneficial for people to hear too. It's like you're going and hiring people, and that's scary because that's just profit gone. Like, so if you just brought two guys on now and then you just went to your house and chilled, you're going to go out of business. Like that's just what's going to go happen. Like you're just going to go out of business because you didn't do anything. And so like what you're doing is you're hiring them and then immediately going and focusing on revenue producing activities. So for any of these new guys that are starting out, or maybe they're like scared to hire. Yeah, dude, it's scary to hire. It's terrifying to hire. Your first hire is the scariest one. Like your first one or two are the scariest ones because you're probably not making enough money to make it make sense, but you can't really grow anymore off of just like piss and vinegar. Which like at 20K a month, 250K a year, that's about the number you can get to as an owner op in junk removal before you're just like, I can't work any harder. My back throws out, this whole thing is over. So you're going and you're hiring these guys, getting yourself out of the truck, and immediately your plan is go after commercial. Is that what you said?
Yeah, simultaneously, you know, like I mentioned a couple of the commercial clients. I consider the realtors commercial as well.
Hmm.
Really just grow the commercial side. I don't really want to be bigger than 50% on the commercial side, unless I really have the cash reserves, just because they're slow to pay.
Oh, what are they
But
paying you in? They're paying you in 60 days, 90 days sometimes.
it's about 45-ish. But yeah, they're net 30, and but you know, really trying. I have one newer account. It's for an HOA apartment community. That's a recurring customer. So we're cleaning out their dumpster areas weekly. And if I I'm kind of playing with that model, but if I could scale that, I mean, I can add a whole truck just in, you know, clean out, maintaining apartment complexes dumpsters for them for illegal
Like
dumping.
the bays and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
disgusting. Yeah. I used to do that with my junk removal business. It's disgusting. Some of those were like, some of the ones that we did were like the most. We did bad apartment complexes, and it was like the most heinous stuff. Like we got a contract in like a bad area, And dude, like there was needles back there. Like, dude, it was terrifying. Terrifying.
Yeah, luckily mine's in a nice area, so
Yeah, it's good.
but
It's good. Dude, what is like give us a little rundown. Junk is always a good one where you have funny stories. What's the craziest thing you've run into so thus far? I know you've got some gnarly stuff.
yeah, so I got a call. It was probably 9 p.m. or something at night. I got a call. It was early on in business, and somebody broken English, frantic, wanting me to come like right away to clear out this apartment. And I agree. I'm like, hey, I can be there at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I'm not gonna stop what I'm doing right now to go out there. But anyway, we go out there. It's pitch black. It's still, I think it was winter time. But we get out there, and this apartment couldn't even like get into it. There's like a foot of feces and food, and just completely trashed. I don't know. And there was I don't know if she was a Filipino or Chinese lady, but yeah, she broken English. She must have gotten in trouble with like Adult Protective Services or something. But this place was disgusting. Um, and so I was early on in business, so we didn't really have the PPE for it. So like I get there, I'm like, all right, I need to go get some suits and masks and gloves, different gloves, not just regular work gloves. So ran to Home Depot, came back, and knocked it out. But literally shoveling, you know, cat feces, cat litter boxes, food in the kitchen, like disgusting.
Well,
But
thank God it was the cat. I thought you were going a different route in the beginning when you
yeah,
said there was
no.
feces. I thought it was human excrement. I was about
Oh
to
yeah,
throw.
that would be
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah,
Uh,
dude. When we had it, we saw like some crazy stuff. Like there was junk removal is one that like kind of it can turn you into a pretty dark human being if you do it for long enough. Because like we used to see like back in the day when we had it, we would run into places where like you go into this place and there would be this big room, and on one side of the room would be like the needle set, like where all the drugs are set up and all the needles are right there, and then the other side of the room would be a crib. And you'd be like, "Are you kidding me?" And like you just like instantly hate this person for like acting like that. But we couldn't do it either because of the PPE. Like we never. Do you guys do removal jobs if there's needles, or do you immediately leave?
we do them. We don't come across them too often, but yeah,
Just
we
good
do them.
shovels, just good big snow shovels.
Yeah, basically we use those brute bins, the trash cans, and we just use a shovel to get in there and dump it in the truck. And but yeah, so I mean I haven't had too many, and most of them it's like maybe we see like one or two needles,
Mm-hmm.
but um, our storage cleanouts are actually the worst for that. That's where I see them the most, oddly enough. Like,
Because like junkies are like living in storage units.
yeah, basically.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, so of the split right now, what of your business is residential versus commercial on like a 20K month? Like how is it 15% or 15K residential on a 20K month? Is it 5K commercial? Is it flipped?
Yeah, it's probably like a 60-40 right now, with residential being the most of it.
That's really good because that's like a lot more consistent if you have that much commercial business early on. It just sucks how long it takes to get paid. But it's it's got to be like a little bit more. I don't know what like it's got to be like a little bit disarming for you as an owner hiring employees though to know that like commercial work's going to be there more consistently than like the ebb and flow of a residential job.
Yeah.
So when you bring these guys on, are you cranking up your spend on Facebook too to kind of account for these two guys and make sure that they're fully booked?
Yeah, I am spending more. Now that I'm bringing on more people, I've probably increased my Facebook budget by I don't know 20%. Just looking at other marketing avenues too. We connected with Dope Marketing and just kind of just hitting different avenues.
Shout out to my boy Dave.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah,
they've been great. We
yeah, they're
just
super
did
cool.
our first mail out for like their brick by brick campaign. Uh,
Hmm.
so looking forward to seeing the ROI on that.
Explain the brick by brick campaign to people.
Yeah, so it's essentially, if you're familiar with um, the theory behind the door hangers, and you go with the houses next door across the street, you do like a 9 grid or whatever it is, to every job you should be doing already. And then this is also going to hit them the same way with a mailer. So we have it set up to at the moment the job is scheduled, they start printing those and sending those out to the closest 10 neighbors. And yeah, and then every job, and then they do that for about 4 weeks. So every job, those 10 neighbors are going to get a postcard for 4 weeks in a row and keep seeing you. They already saw your truck, they saw the door hanger, they're probably seeing my Facebook ads, so just kind of hitting them. They say it takes like 8 touches before somebody buys a product.
Hmm.
So looking forward to seeing the results on that.
Okay, so you do a neighbor. It's you schedule in Jobber. So like once it gets scheduled in Jobber, are you using Jobber?
Yes.
Okay, so it gets scheduled in Jobber. Dope has like an API or a Zapier into your Jobber. The second that job gets scheduled, it immediately automatically puts the closest, what is it, 10 houses into a, how many mailer campaign? Like, is it 5 weeks of mailers? How many times do those neighbors get those?
Yeah, so we're doing the closest 10 right now, and then they get it for 4 weeks in a row.
Got it. So they see you on site. They see you doing a junk removal job for somebody eventually. Then they get
Yeah.
the a weekly mailer, the closest 10 neighbors on top of each other. Boom, 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 boom. Because we know the math on direct mail. You got to hit them multiple times before they come out. So yeah, dude. I mean, I already know the answer to that. It's going to take a while for it to get going, like maybe a couple weeks, but that will directly impact. Like that will have a really positive ROI. And then do they have a custom QR and phone number on those postcards for you to track that they're coming from those?
Yeah, yeah. I was actually really surprised by that. Every single postcard has a different QR code, different tracking, so you know
You know which
exactly.
creative is converting.
Yeah, so you know not only what, like down to the house, like the house. Bonnie Smith scanned the QR code, and every time they scan it, you're getting notified. So I think that's good because you can, even if they're not converting, if you have people that are interested in one versus the other, they're scanning it, a couple times over a few days. Maybe you go do some door hangers in that neighborhood, or hit it again or whatever it can be. But I was really surprised. I figured they would have a QR code that would just go to my website, but they have the tracking pretty dialed in.
No, dude, it's crazy. Their stuff is super good. Yeah, and they're just that company's run by good people too, which is just a bonus on top. Every employee I've ever talked to there like loves their job. Like it's the weirdest. Like I've never seen anything like it. Like usually when you talk to somebody in a support role or like a design role, they're just like a button pusher. I'm telling you, everyone from the design to the order side for them, they're just wonderful to deal with. So, dude, that's super cool. And are you still doing yard signs right now? Or are you being lazy?
I am. I was lazy for a little while, and then but yeah, I put out 25 this morning at like 4 a.m. And
There you go.
yeah, so my goal is right now is to do about 100 a week. Um, but yeah, it's easy to get lazy with that. In my area, like I have to get out there before like by 5:30. There's just too much traffic,
Hmm.
especially since every vehicle I own now is wrapped. So it's
They know who's doing it.
yeah. So
That's funny,
I'm
dude.
actually I'm actually considering testing in a certain county, in a certain area, branded signs and see how that
Yeah,
goes.
I mean the branded ones, as long as the main service and phone number are bigger, they're probably going to convert better.
Yeah.
But it's just if you're in an area that's not very yard sign friendly, you can't do that. So it makes sense. What? Okay, and I'm gonna wrap it up here. But I do want to the what I ask everybody that comes on. It's like you've been in business for almost a year. What like if you could go back and say one thing that you wish you did differently early on, what is that one thing?
I think we can get caught up in like the YouTube University and content. Like even now, like you probably are watching too much content and not enough action. Or so like in the beginning, like I think I had my LLC like a year before I really started. Like I got my all the legal stuff out of the way, but like you're not in business until you have a customer, right? Until you're taking that credit card and providing a service. So like I think way too many people just wait too long to put something into action. And yeah, that's what I would say. Just do it. If it's yard signs, if it's door hangers, if it's Facebook, whatever you're doing, just start. I mean, people said it before, but I think people need to be reminded more than taught, right? So just
Yeah,
start.
it's the imperfect action will trump having the perfect plan. Because like you could do the whole business plan on paper. The second you go out to your first job or your 10th job or your 100th job, you're going to learn something way different than what you thought it was going to be looking like on paper. Like
Yeah.
that's like I mean I was the same way. It's like you just like you people confuse YouTube and information with work because it's like, "Oh, I'm watching a YouTube video about junk removal. I must be being productive." To an extent, but it ends pretty quick. And like nothing will work better than going out, throwing up a few yard signs and doing your first job. Like that's the hardest part. It's like I forget the phrase, but it's something like some people take 10 years to do step one when like step one should take 10 like step one should essentially be an execution of working for 10 years. Like
Yeah.
most people take 10 years to even take the first step. And like it's just I mean it's really sad too because you see like I see it in my Instagram. Like I see it in my YouTube comments. Like I can recognize some of the names of guys that have like I started making Instagram stuff like over a year and a half ago, And I see dudes in the comments like, yeah, dude, I'm about to start my junk removal business. I'm about to start my pressure washing business. I'm like, dude, it's been a year. Like, what are we doing? Like 365 days passed. Just go do it.
Gotta
Like,
start my LLC,
yeah, it's like, dude, don't, yeah, I mean, shoot,
takes
this
5
is
minutes.
not legal advice, but dude, go do one without it. Sorry. Like, I definitely didn't have an LLC the first job I did. Now, that's not good legal advice, but I am like, that's just real. That's just like, unfortunately, like, I definitely started without it and was like, okay, someone gave me cash. I better go. I need some articles of org so I can take a credit card and get a business bank account. So there we go. But yeah, dude, it is sad. It is sad. Like how many years pass for people before they just like take the action. Cause once you're in it, like once you're going and you can shed a little bit of light on it. Like when's the last time you've been bored since starting it? Have you experienced the symptom of boredom in the last year?
No.
No, no.
Yeah,
It's
no, it's
insane.
challenging, but like I'm loving getting out there and being challenged every day. It's a different kind of stress, but it's when you're doing something for yourself, it's like invaluable, right? Whereas most people out there, in the grind are just building somebody else's dream, or for me, I worked in the government sector. There wasn't anything more going to come out of that, retirement one day, but this is so much more satisfying.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. All right, so we asked you what you do differently. What's one thing you think you did right early on? Like if you're like, yeah, I nailed that early on. I've seen some other guys not do that. I nailed that early on. What's an example of something you were like, yeah, I did that right?
I did that right. That's a good question.
I have an answer. I have an answer for you, but I want you to tell me your answer first.
Yeah, I think really looking, I would say getting coaching early on and then branding early on. I think, I spent some money before I had it on coaching and branding and really looking at what other people were doing pretty early on, where I see a lot of people that have been in business and sure they're making, like the 8 to 12 grand a month and you doing whatever, even other like contractors, like painters and whatnot. I'm like, man, if you just wrapped your truck and did a few other things and had some branding, you would be way bigger. Friends of mine, family members of mine that have been, had their own painting business for years and it's like they still don't have a brand. Like, I don't even know if they have a website. Like they're making ends meet, but like if they would have did that early on, they would be a lot further ahead.
Agreed. Yeah, and I want to give you your flowers a little bit too. Like I've had proximity to 400 something home service business owners. Like people join at different sizes, but at least earlier on, like even last year, more people were joining at the earlier stages of their business. Now it's like a little bit more like guys that are in your position now are typically the people joining, but it's a mix. The one thing that I noticed, and we talked about it like on the Home Service Accelerator team with you, was like you just execute and you didn't ask a lot of questions. Like you just executed on it. And I think like that's like such a redeeming trait of an entrepreneur is like, I'm not sitting here pretending I have all the answers and like I shit rainbows and gold all day, but I just like I had a few more years and like a few more bumps along the way, and like the stuff that I built seemed to work for a lot of home service businesses, so I can guide you in the right direction. But like one of the things we were talking about last night is I was like, dude, I was talking in the company chat and I was like, dude, Cliff got 100 5-star reviews in like, I want to say you had maybe 10 reviews 5 months ago. Like, was it even that? Might even been less months.
So in February I had 7.
Yeah. So it's like we're filming in August, and it's like that's the kind of stuff where when guys are like in the minutia and doing the day to day and they're getting a business off the ground, that's the kind of stuff that you don't get immediate results from. Like it's not the dopamine hit like turning on a Facebook ad. It's like getting Google reviews, like focusing on that, building the SEO while you're still doing the fulfillment. That's the most important part. Is like you were still in the truck doing it, knowing that you had to build the stuff on the back end. And like that's super admirable because a lot of the time what happens is guys come in, they get a little bit of traction, and then they get busy because the marketing stuff we tell them to do works, and then they stop doing the marketing stuff. And it's like, no. This is the hardest part. Is like you have to keep that volume up so that and keep doing the fulfillment so you can eventually hire somebody or hire two. So I've really admired watching that. Is like you just executed, and like, sure, is there a lot more room to grow? Absolutely. But where you're at now compared to where you were at 6 months ago, if you told yourself 6 months ago this is where you'd be at, you'd probably be fucking pumped, right?
Yeah, definitely. One thing I would add is I learned a hard lesson when I let my foot off the gas when I got busy. Like we talked about May. Everything from May was from February, March, and April, right? It wasn't anything I did in May. And then I felt it in June and July when I let my foot off the gas a little bit. And so now it's back on. So I won't do that again.
Yeah, dude, it's real. You really feel it in the early stage of the business. Like, we've been in business for 6 years now on the lighting business. Like, if we didn't market, our phone's probably still going to ring decently because we've had so much time to build brand, build a bunch of connections, everything else. But guys in that newer stage, like, it truly is like shoveling coals in the fire. Like, you gotta like just keep putting coals in there and keep it going for a long time, because I mean, it is truly like impact, 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 impact. Like, you have to keep just hammering it, and then eventually you get to the position you're at now, and you keep going. But dude, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. Do you have any parting words for the gang?
No, thank you for having me. No, I would just say you're probably not doing enough if you think you are. You probably just need to do a little bit more.
Most people grossly underestimate the amount of volume it takes for marketing to be successful. I agree. And we are going to end there. Everybody, this is Cliff Baker from Clifford's Junk Removal in Sacramento. You guys can look him up. He's on Instagram, all that jazz. Give him a follow. Tell him you love his stuff. And we appreciate you guys watching.